Nithyanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Ganadarsham Tadvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Nithyanandam, with the grace and blessings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasanidhanam, His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, the sovereign of the sovereign state of Sri Kailasa, Kailasa is pleased to bring to you this global conclave on the occasion of the World Day of Social Justice and the Kailasa Om Award ceremony in collaboration with the Department of Human Services and the Sri Kailasa Uniting Nations for Peacekeeping.
And your host for today's event are Her Excellency Ma Vijayapriya Nithyananda, Permanent Representative of Kailasa to the UN, as well as myself, Manitya Swatantra Priyananda, Delegate of Kailasa. We warmly welcome our esteemed award recipients with our love and respect, as well as our live international audience joining us today from all corners of the world. Let us open today's celebrations by first explaining the particular significance of this day, on which 14 inspiring accomplished leaders in the field of social justice, representing 10 countries, will be awarded the Kailasa Dharma Rakshana Social Justice Award. Today, February 20th, marks a very special day, as along with being the World Day of Social Justice, as declared by the United Nations, it is also the day of Chitra Nakshatra. Nakshatra means constellation. It is the Janma Nakshatra or birth star of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. According to Vedic astrology, Chitra Nakshatra is the most auspicious star of the celestial stars, and one can even see this star with your physical eyes continuously in the sky throughout the year.
And it is on this most auspicious Chitra Nakshatra that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, was born on January 3rd, 1978, as per the Gregorian calendar, in the holy town of Tiruvannamalai, India. Tiruvannamalai is the spiritual capital of the world for seekers of enlightenment and is home to the sacred hill of Arunachala, the very hill which pulls incarnations, avatars, down to planet Earth for the upliftment of humanity through a superconscious breakthrough. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is recognized as the 1008 living incarnation of Lord Paramashiva, the ultimate superconsciousness as per Hinduism, by his predecessors of enlightened masters and adepts. On this month, Chitra Nakshatra Day, Sri Kailasa is commemorating the World Day of Social Justice. And there are many social justice issues in the world today: gender inequality, systemic racism, and unemployment are just a few. Since 2009, every February 20th has been the UN observance known as World Day of Social Justice. The purpose of the day is to focus on the plight of social injustice throughout the world and to press for improvements and solutions. The day also pledges to promote equitable distribution of income and greater access to resources through equity and equality for all. This year's commemoration supports efforts by the international community to end social justice issues by advancing the following, but not limited to: sustainable development, poverty eradication, the promotion of full employment and decent work, universal social protection, gender equality, access to social well-being and justice for all, environment and animal rights, and many more. As restoring social justice is at the core of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's avataric mission, which we will get into more detail soon, social justice has been chosen as the theme for today's award ceremony.
So it is no secret that as a humanity, we are at a turning point in history. Whether we want to accept it or not, whether we want to hold on to the hope that everything will go back to the way it used to be, the reality is that the COVID-19 crisis has forced us all to face the fact that the very foundation from which our society operates is not sustainable. The unwavering waves of the COVID-19 pandemic and its devastating consequences act as what many may consider a rather brutal awakening to this truth. While responses worldwide are focused on reducing infections and fatalities, which is undoubtedly necessary, global economic growth has plummeted, poverty levels are increasing, and inequality is accelerating between and within countries with intergenerational consequences. So today, humanity calls for a new world order which will ensure social justice. That is the reason why we have gathered from around the world today. And so today's program will be conducted in 3 segments. First, we will share with you highlights of the almost 3-decade-long incredible work of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, in various fields, including social justice as per Hindu principles. This will be followed by the award ceremony, where special recognition will be given to 14 inspiring accomplished leaders for their contribution to the field of social justice in various ways. And last but not least, today's global conclave on social justice will be concluded with a special live presidential address by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, the sovereign of the sovereign state of Sri Kailasa.
So, who is the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism? The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the only legal inheritor of 19 ancient Hindu kingdoms and the successor to multiple Sarvanya Peethams. To better understand how the revival of the sovereign state of Sri Kailasa came about, let us dive deeper into the journey of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, starting from the very young age of 3. So, at just the young age of 3, in 1981, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was initiated into Bala Sannyas, child saint, by his predecessors of enlightened masters and adepts. In 1981, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the future Guru Mahasannidhanam Pontiff of Kanchi's Kailasa Sarvanya Peetham, Tondai Adinam, the oldest monastic university. In 1994, he was declared as the successor of Arunachala Sarvanya Peetham in Tiruvannamalai, India. In 1999, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism founded the mission Nithyananda Sangha to revive Kailasa globally. In the same year, he was coronated as the successor of Kashi Sarvanya Peetha in Varanasi, India. In 2002, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism founded Adi Kailasa Sarvanya Peetham in Bengaluru Adinam in India. And in 2004, he was declared as the successor of Bhagya Nagara Sripura Sarvanya Peetham.
In the same year, 2004, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the 203rd incumbent emperor of the Suryavamsa Surangi Samrajyam of Suryavamsa lineage, the ancient kingdom of the Suryavamsa, or the lineage of the sun god, is an enlightenment ecosystem established directly by Lord Paramashiva through Lord Surya, the sun god. In January 2007, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism revived Adi Pallava Sarvanya Peetham, the spiritual and religious kingdom in Puducherry, India. Later, on April 27, 2012, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the 293rd Guru Mahasannidhanam of Madurai, Shyamalapita Sarvanya Peetham, the oldest Hindu papal state and monastic kingdom. The following year, in 2013, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was officially coronated as Mahamandaleshwar, Supreme Spiritual Head of Mahanirvani Akada, the largest apex monastic order, making him the youngest Mahamandaleshwar. In the same year, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was declared as Acharya Mahamandaleshwar of Atal Akada, the oldest monastic order in Hinduism. In 2014, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as Guru Mahasannidhanam, Pontiff of Tanjavur Adinam. The following year, in 2015, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as Guru Mahasannidhanam of Adi Pita Kolada Mata. It is also in 2015 that His Divine Holiness was coronated as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism by a congregation of over 1,000 Hindu leaders, pontiffs, through a grand 3-day ritualistic celebration known as the Atirudra Mahayagna. And in 2018, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism officially revived the sovereign state of Sri Kailasa as we know it today.
And in order to fulfill his avataric mission, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism revived Sri Kailasa or Kailasa, the ancient enlightened Hindu civilizational nation, the first nation for Hindus. Over the past 27 years of his public life, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, has set up thousands of model communities which are peaceful and sustainable in over 100 countries. In fact, Kailasa ecosystem worldwide live as per the sacred cosmic principles of Ahimsa Paramo Dharmaha, meaning non-violence is the greatest virtue, and Advaita, meaning peaceful coexistence with all beings. Now, let us see why the revival of the sovereign state of Sri Kailasa, which is rooted in cosmic principles, is a survival need.
On May 3rd, 2020, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism declared, Corona is destroying the old world order. So what is the old world order? The old world order is the current social, political, economical, educational structures which fulfill only a few handful of individuals' vested interests at the detriment of the well-being of the rest of society and humanity. A couple examples taken from the World Economic Forum. Income inequality soaring. In the US, over 44 million people lost their jobs and unemployment surged towards 15% between April and June 2020. Yet, the fortunes of the top 5 billionaires rose by 102 billion, increasing their wealth by 26%. In fact, the combined wealth of US billionaires increased by over 637 billion to a total of 3.6 trillion, which is considerably more than the entire wealth of the 54 countries on the African continent. Gender inequality increasing. Women, alongside the poor, elderly, disabled, and migrant populations, have borne the brunt of the fallout from the pandemic. In the US, women accounted for 55% of all jobs lost, even though they make up under half of the total workforce. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism declared that although the old world order may have been there for the last 100 years, it is melting down as the pandemic carries on.
And the pandemic has made it evident that the need for a new world order based on cosmic principles has become a survival need. On May 3rd, 2020, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism also declared that, quote, Hindus who are living the cosmic principles of Ahimsa Paramo Dharmaha, non-violence and Advaita, peaceful coexistence, have to create the new world order and maintain it, unquote. Therefore, Kailasa worldwide, under the guidance of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, has taken the responsibility to guide humanity towards the creation of the New World Order, which has to be the most non-violent, equitable, and sustainable. So, what exactly is the New World Order as per Hinduism? Let us look at the glorious past of Akhanda Bharat. Akhanda Bharat, which included modern day India, was at one time called the Golden Bird. It had abundance of raw materials, availability of precious stones, equal distribution of wealth and richness, and no social inequalities. On this ground, ancient India was a global trade hub.
The richness of ancient India triggered barbaric wars, destruction, exodus, and slavery of Hindus. As a result, the world and Hindus themselves have forgotten about the richness and power of their own civilization, which was not only richest, but absolutely non-violent, as it was based on the Hindu science of enlightenment. To this day, the persecution of Hindu leaders and Hindu minorities remains unabated. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is himself a target of persecution.
The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has, in fact, endured torture and murder attempts by the state and non state actors, such as there were over 70 assassination attempts and physical attacks on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in India and abroad, over 40 attacks on community members, destruction of monasteries and temples, over 60 incidents of attacks, molestation, and rape of women and women monks, intense lawfare via over 100 false legal cases, intersectional persecution using the entire government mechanism, such as politically owned media, police, and judiciary controlled by politicians, and incitement of mob violence via social media. And finally, on December 2nd, 2021, the plight of Hindu minorities and the persecution of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was represented at the United Nations by Sri Kailasa. This was the first time in history the voice of Hindu minorities were heard on an international platform such as the UN.
So, what is the secret to Akhanda Bharat's prosperity and most equitable society? It's Hindu Varnashrama Dharma, which is, as described by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, the most beautiful science developed for a most stable society. So, what exactly is the Hindu Varnashrama Dharma? The four major powers that exist in society, knowledge, weapons, wealth, and land, were equitably distributed between four varanas or occupational divisions, which were interdependent. Brahmanas were the teachers, Kshatriyas, the rulers, Vaishyas, the business community, and Shudras, the working class. There was no higher and lower between these groups. All of them were doing different responsibilities. In that way, the decentralization of power was always maintained.
So now one may wonder, how was each individual's varna determined? Varna was not decided by jati, meaning birth, but rather based on the way in which one chose to take responsibility for one's life and others' lives. As explained by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, quote, the family by birth gives you specialization due to the ecosystem prevalent in the house and workplace. Then you choose your varna, unquote. It is important to clarify and emphasize here that the Hindu Varnashrama Dharma system has nothing to do with the caste system and that most of the world knows about today. The discriminatory caste system, as the world knows it, was brought by the invaders and imposed on the Hindu civilization.
The truth is that the Hindu Varnashrama Dharma is beautifully crafted in such a way where there was equitable resource distribution, absolute law and order, Women were revered, honored, and protected along with their children, and vulnerable people were protected at every level.
For the past 27 years of his public life, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been, through Kailasa, relentlessly working towards the revival of the Hindu Varnashrama Dharma and to evolve human beings in this science of enlightenment, Jivan Mukti, through it. And before we expand further on Sri Kailasa, let us move now to the most awaited award ceremony. To begin today's award ceremony, we would like to firstly thank all awardees for taking the time to being here to receive the Kailasa Dharma Rakshana Social Justice Award and be part of this global conclave on the occasion of World Social Justice Day being organized by Sri Kailasa in collaboration with the Department of Human Services and the Sri Kailasa United Nations for Peacekeeping. We would like to thank all the viewers who have joined us from across 100 countries, either on the international Nithyananda TV or viewing us on the various social media platforms. We thank you for being here. So we would like to now present the awards to the distinguished individuals present here with us who, through their hard work, are contributing towards the advancement of social justice.
And now we would like to introduce Councilwoman Teresa Cox from the United States. As the daughter of school teachers, orphaned at a young age, Councilwoman Cox overcame life's obstacles and broke down numerous barriers to dedicate her life to improving the community around her. Councilwoman Cox is the first African American ever elected to Fremont City Council in almost 65 years. Councilwoman Cox is the first African American elected to the Olone Community College Board of Trustees in 50 years. She served 12 years as vice chair of the board. Councilwoman Cox became the first African American woman in the United States to earn a degree in nuclear engineering. Currently, Councilwoman Cox is dedicated to improving international trade relations, furthering business opportunities, and creating jobs in our community. Councilwoman Cox is appointed by the Biden administration on the US Department of Commerce's District Export Council. Councilwoman Cox is now an executive for the County of Santa Clara Procurement Department as the Senior Strategic Sourcing Officer, where she was deployed as a frontline worker during the COVID-19 pandemic to manage one of the emergency operations center. Councilwoman Teresa Cox, we warmly welcome you and we kindly invite you to share a few words.
Thank you so much. Thank you to Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, for your global leadership and spirituality, peace, human rights, health, and environmental justices, and COVID-19 initiatives, doing good for all people. I am deeply honored to be one of this year's social justice awardees and champions at the Kailasa Awards ceremony. Thank you to all who are responsible for today's awards, and congratulations to my fellow awardees. I dedicate this award to my mother, who's no longer on this earth, but her memories live forever. I stand on her shoulders as she has taught me how to fight for equality and equity for all people, being the president of the Teachers Union. I also, in the teachings of Dr. Martin Luther King, the time is always right to do the right thing. I cannot be silent on the things that matter, like social justice. I would like to share with you words that are from a poem that's entitled Living the Dream for All People on World Social Justice Day, a day to reaffirm the ideals of freedom, justice, and opportunity for all, a day for love, not hate, for understanding, not anger, for peace, not war, a day for the family to share together, to reach out to relatives and friends, to mend broken relationships, a day when the community rids itself of the barriers which divide us and comes together for one, as one, for equity and equality for all. A day when all people, races, religions, classes, and stations in life put aside their differences and join in the spirit of togetherness. A day that we pay tribute to the World Justice Social Day, to awaken all to do the best in all qualities of human mankind. A day for nations to cease all violent actions and seek nonviolent solutions, and to demonstrate that peace is not just a dream, but a real reality for one day. If for only one day, we can all be drum majors for justice, peace, diversity, equity, and inclusion and equality, then we would bring to life what the World Social Justice Day means and living the dream for all people. Together, we can make a difference in our community now and in the future. Again, thank you so much for this wonderful honor. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Cox, for your beautiful sharing and for your dedication towards ensuring the well-being of the community and humanity.
And our next award goes to Mr. Gift Parsin from Kenya. Mr. Gift Parsin is an indigenous Maasai youth. Mr. Gift is a member of the Global Indigenous Youth Caucus and volunteers in a non-governmental organization called Maasai Women for Education and Economic Development as a youth representative, whose role is mostly based on rights issues, which include the environment, climate change, human rights, and matters that affect indigenous peoples and their relations with relevant United Nations organizations and agencies. Mr. Gift is also a member of the Coalition of Human Rights Defenders of Kenya, an umbrella organization which protects human rights defenders. Mr. Gift, we warmly welcome you and we kindly invite you to share a few words.
Thank you very much, and I'm greatly honored for this event. I don't know if my lighting is right because I seem a little bit dark on the camera, but usually not as this dark as I am. I am extremely honored to be nominated to receive such an important award, the Kailasa Rakshana Social Justice Award. I honestly and grateful for the recognition I have received for our work, because I am very sure that every other nominee for this award was as capable, if not more, of winning this award. I have faced several challenges on my way here, but each one of them has only strengthened me to make me the person I am today, a defender of human rights, a youth, an indigenous youth who knows exactly what he wants. Someone who sets eyes on a goal and does not lose sight of it unless it is achieved. Winning, or rather being nominated for this award, would not have been possible without the inspiration and support that I've received from other like-minded people for whom I have the deepest respect for, and from whom I have derived the strength to challenge myself and perform better at every step of the way. I sincerely thank each one of everyone for helping me reach this stage, not forgetting the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, my organization, Maasai Women for Education and Economic Development, that's MAWID, the Office of the Secretary General the Envoy of Youth, and my team, the Super 30, the Global Indigenous Youth Caucus, the Yongo Human Rights Working Group, the National Coalition of Human Rights Defenders Kenya, and DOSIP, where I can proudly take this award as a mark of our achievement. I also promise not to only get better at my work so that they can see me here for more such awards. I'm grateful for everyone who has made this happen. As Helen Keller said, until the great mass of the people shall be filled with a sense of responsibility for each other's welfare, social justice can never be attained. And as Martin Luther Jr., King Luther said, injustice anywhere is threat to justice everywhere. Let's keep the fire burning. Viva comrade, viva indigenous youth. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Parsin, for your important contribution in the field of human rights, including the rights of indigenous peoples and environmental protection.
Next, we would like to introduce Reverend Susan Shannon from the United States. Reverend Susan Shannon has worked among diverse populations all her life in varying capacities, including Tibetan refugees, the homeless, the differently abled, at-risk youth, and the incarcerated. She was ordained as an interfaith minister by the Chaplaincy Institute for Arts and Interfaith Ministries in 2011. She went on to complete a Master's of Divinity from Star King School for the ministry in 2012, with the focus of serving marginalized and oppressed communities. Since ordination, Reverend Shannon's ministry has been focused on prison chaplaincy projects and transformational programs at San Quentin State Prison, including providing Buddhist chaplaincy on death row. Her work is rooted in the principles of restorative justice and emotional literacy, fostering interconnectedness and healthy community engagement. Reverend Susan Shannon, we warmly welcome you and we kindly invite you to share a few words.
I'm sorry, I was muted. Hello and namaste. I am honored to be here today among all of you visionaries and activists working towards a more compassionate world. I especially want to thank the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagat Guru Mahasannidhanam, and His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, for organizing this event. I also thank my root guru, His Holiness Tenzin Gyatso, the 14th Dalai Lama of Tibet, for being my guiding light and inspiration for 45 years. Any good I have done in this lifetime is due to Guru's grace, which you represent, and the power of the awakened heart. I bow to your lotus feet. I accept this award as well on behalf of the thousands of people working in the trenches, tirelessly engaged in compassionate service, unseen except by those they are serving. You are seen, you are here. All my spiritual service is based in 3 words: disconnection, connection, and interconnection. These words are at the heart of restorative justice, or as I like to call it, restorative just us. In disconnection, there is isolation, fear, violence, and the most virulent disease in humanity, that of othering. In connection, there is love, understanding, and empathy. Connection leads to interconnection. In interconnection, there is divine light, divine life, refuge, respect for self and other, compassion, transformation, and healing. For 9 years, I served as the Buddhist chaplain on San Quentin's death row, one of the most disconnected places of extreme suffering and isolation on earth. The men in my Sangha learned to practice kindness with the spiders in their sinks, the flies on the wall. They recognized the truth of suffering, watching and praying for people on TV. Their hearts became soft. Eventually, they desired to share the joy of Sangha, connection and interconnection, which they had found in the Buddha's teachings. Their desire gave birth to my current project, the Buddhist Prison Ministry, offering a program for inmates based on the Buddha's teachings, which spread like wildfire across the United States. And now, thanks to this award, knowledge of how their intention spread is known around the globe. I leave you now with this story as an invitation, a challenge. What more can we do? Who have we forgotten? There is really just us, one love, one heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Shannon, for your invaluable contributions to restorative justice and for spreading love, understanding, and empathy.
And our next award goes to Miss Mia Yamamoto from the United States. Miss Mia Yamamoto, formerly Michael Francis Yamamoto, is a Los Angeles-based criminal defense attorney and civil rights activist. She was born in Boston Relocation Camp, Arizona, during the World War II. Miss Mia stands for human rights and justice for women, trans, immigrants, prisoners, LGBT, and all marginalized people, particularly for people whose lives have been upended by the criminal justice system and incarceration. Miss Mia joined the U.S. Army 1966 to 68, awarded the National Defense Service Medal, Army Commendation Medal, Vietnam Campaign Medal, Vietnam Service Medal. She is the past president of California Attorneys for Criminal Justice, a statewide organization of 2,500 public defenders, the Japanese American Bar Association, the Asian Pacific American Women Lawyers Alliance, and many more. She is the co-founder and past chair of the Multicultural Bar Alliance, coalition of minority, women's, and LGBT bar associations of Los Angeles. Ms. Mia owns a private practice since 1984. She was named Criminal Defense Attorney of the Year by the LA County Bar Association in 2002 and named one of the 100 most influential lawyers in California by the California Daily Journal 2002. Ms. Mia Yamamoto, we warmly welcome you and we kindly invite you to share a few words.
Thank you very much. I would like to convey my thanks and my greeting to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagat Guru Mahasanidanam, and His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam. I want to speak a little bit with you. I have 3 minutes. I would like to talk to you about what I am doing and representing where I come from. I am a transgender woman of color. I advocate for transgender people worldwide. I belong to another organization called International Bridges to Justice, and we have outposts all over the world, primarily in South Asia, East Asia, Central Asia, Africa, the Middle East, and other parts of the world. We are advocating for prisoners all over the world. we are on a campaign to eliminate investigative torture. We believe that every single country that we are engaged in has laws and rules against investigative torture, and yet this evil method of gaining information is used all the time in criminal investigations and military intelligence. There is also the issue of race in certainly in the United States, the issue of white supremacy, which has served to create great waves of anti-Black racism and anti-minority racism all across the country. Along with, I want to commend Reverend Sutton. We are all fighting against the injustice of the death penalty. We are involved right now in abolition of the death penalty across the country. It is a campaign that has been going on for many, many decades. We are still devoted to ending this oppressive, irrational, and unreliable system. And it does not ever allow anybody the right to give governments the right to kill people. Along with the other awardees, I want to emphasize too that you cannot have peace without justice. If there is the kind of inequality that we are talking about with billionaires and trillionaires from the United States creating absolute inequality and making injustice even worse across the world, I would like to commend this group. Social justice will never be enough. This campaign will never be enough to create real equality, real justice across the country. And so we have to keep working. There is no other way to end the kinds of issues that are facing us on a daily basis, including the coronavirus. I want to speak also on behalf of all lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people. I am speaking against the oppression, the inequality, and the marginalization that takes place on a daily basis here in the United States. Transgender women of color are the #1 hate crime target across this country. And again, the inequality, the bastions of racial injustice, economic injustice, educational injustice, and inequality is creating an unacceptable divide in this country. We heard last night, I am at a death penalty conference right now, and we spoke to us, Dr. Reverend Boyle from the Homeboy Industry spoke about how we have to understand that we belong to each other, that we are all interconnected, that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice on this planet. Thank you very much for this award. Thank you to all the awardees, and thank you for everything that you are doing to try to make this a more fair and just and equal world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Yamamoto, for your sincere hard work and the commitment to the advancement of human rights and justice for all the people. Thank you.
Our next award goes to Mr. Dipan Mitra from Bangladesh. Mr. Mitra is the Secretary General, World Hindu Federation, Bangladesh chapter. Mr. Mitra is an education specialist, human rights activist, and prominent Hindu leader in Bangladesh. He is involved in different government and non-government organizations such as Save the Children. He has been working in IIT Brack University as an education specialist since 2006. Mr. Mitra gained in-depth knowledge and experience in child rights and human rights. He is executive member of Inter-Religion Harmony Society. He's working hard for social, political, economic, and religious rights for minorities in Bangladesh. He is an executive member of South Asian People's Forum, people-to-people connectivity in this region. His main motto is to promote human rights to foster social, political, and religious affinities, irrespective of caste, religion, and social status. Mr. Mitra, we warmly welcome you, and we kindly invite you to share a few words.
Thank you. Firstly, I will thank the supreme point of Hinduism and Bhagavan Swami Nithyananda Paramashivam. I feel so honored for selecting me about Social Justice Award for this year by the Sri Kailasa. Actually, we want to see the equal and equity society in all over the world, but everywhere we see inequalities, injustice, and in respect of religious, in respect of economics, in respect of sex, uh, there are injustice everywhere. But we are not hopeless. We are totally hopeful. We're trying to do the equal justice for everyone and every people in all over the world, and especially for in Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, the people are facing a extreme portion of injustice irrespective of religious, because the minorities people are facing discriminations from the states and from the majority community, and we are trying hard to ensure the rights for minorities people for their equal justice, and and we're operating in NGOs, because in Bangladesh we a lot of people are facing the social in very vulnerable situations. They are facing economical injustice there. So we're trying to making the self-employment issues during the COVID pandemic. You know, many people lost their jobs and they are totally workless and they have no money, they have no food, and we're trying to make them self-employment opportunity so that they can get job and they can earn money and they can get the equal rights in the society. And I hopeful we work, if we work together, then in near future we'll see a equal and equity social justice world within soon. Thank you everyone, and again I feel so honored, and thanks to all everyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mitra, for your invaluable contributions to the promotion of human rights and religious rights for all.
And our next award goes to Mr. Kristen Johnson Williams from Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Kristen Johnson Williams has an LLB from the University of London, a legal practicing certificate from the University of Staffordshire, and has been part of the Law Association of Trinidad and Tobago since 2010. Mr. Williams is managing partner at Kristen Williams & Co. He is the founder and chief executive officer of Quantum Consultancy Concept, leader of a think tank of expert consultants. Mr. Williams is also founder of the Quantum Foundation. The undertaking of the company is restricted to the planning and the implementation of programs to establish a National Institute of Human Rights and to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago by the year 2030. His vision is to have a stellar legacy as a civil society actor to improve the social, political, and economic conditions in the world. Mr. Williams, we warmly welcome you and we kindly invite you to share a few words.
Sorry. Firstly, I would like to say thank you, and I'm really honored to be chosen for this award of social justice. Thank you to His Divine Holiness. My vision really and truly is one world where we can all be respected for our individual beliefs, spiritually as well as physically. Towards that end, I really and truly admire His Divine Holiness for the levels of persecution that he would have endured, because not much of us, I mean, we're all here saying thanks for an award, and we all go through our fights and our battles. But to say that we would have been persons with 70 assassination attempts, over 100 legal cases, that must really be admired in a quest to fight for the greater good. So on that note, I end and I say thank you, and I'll just